Evening. Well, we were expecting to see all 72 clubs in the N-Power Football League in action today. That was until MK Dons' game with Carlisle was called off just before 2 o'clock. As you can imagine, it didn't go down particularly well with those Carlisle fans who made the 262-mile journey. But I have been reliably informed they were looked after by the Dons chairman. Well, Steve Claridge is with me tonight to pick out the highlights from the 35 games that did take place today. And here's just a taster of what's coming up tonight. Southampton came through the festive period, still top of the Championship. The Saints are on the road today at Forest, a team that needs to start winning, and fast. Hot on Southampton's heels are West Ham United. The Hammers also had an away day at Portsmouth. Reading are one of the form teams in the Championship. The Royals are up into the playoffs, and they were looking to keep that going against another side on the up, Watford.
And in League One, he's swapped one of the Football League's success stories of the past few seasons for a club who've seen better times in recent years. We're at Deepdale, where Preston today unveiled the Stevenage boss, Graham Wesley, as the man to rescue them from the doldrums.
Yeah, more on that later, but we start tonight with the top of the Championship, which has certainly got a lot more interesting in recent weeks. Southampton began the day top of the table, but only on goal difference from West Ham. So the Saints needed a win at Nottingham Forest to keep the chasing pack at bay. As for Forest, well, they started the day in the bottom three, so they were desperate for 3 points to ease their relegation worries. At the City Ground for us was John Roeder.
Championship leaders Southampton are in a position where Nottingham Forest fans hoped they would be. A third successive playoff campaign for Forest looks most unlikely. A second consecutive promotion for Saints is highly possible. Striker Marlon Harewood makes his first start for Forest since rejoining the club earlier this month. Forest haven't scored a goal here at the City Ground since mid-November. Harewood partnered by Tudgay up front. Greg Cunningham returns to the defence. Southampton are without top scorer Ricky Lambert, who got a hat-trick in the 3-2 win over Forest back in September. Lambert is suspended. 3 changes from the side that won at Coventry in the FA Cup last weekend. Davis, De Prado and Connolly all coming in. Fox. Connolly. Lallana. Chance for a shot here from Hammond. Nobody closed him down at all. And it was pushed away to safety by Lee Camp. The goalkeeper quite entitled to ask his outfield players why nobody was able to get near to Dean Hammond. The shot might just have been curling wide. Camp made sure that it went behind. Steve Cottrell have won 5, drawn 2 and lost 9 in League and Cup since taking charge. Forest had that horrendous run of 7 games without a win. 6 of them were defeats. They didn't score in all 7 of those. Harewood. Tudgay making the run. And the flag stays down. It's Tudgay looking to just lob that ball over Kelvin Davis. And in the end it was a simple catch for the Southampton goalkeeper. Already signs, though, are encouraging for Nottingham Forest with this partnership of Harewood and Tudgay. Always giving it away straight to Harewood. This is Tudgay. That's a trip, that'll be a yellow card. Jos Højbjerg. Southampton defender knows exactly what he's doing here. Knows that Tudgay was going to get away from it. And it will be a yellow card for Jos Højbjerg. McGugan to strike. Gets a deflection, and another deflection as Harewood's shot was pushed away by Højbjerg. Forest's best chance of the match so far. It fell nicely there for Harewood, but look at Højbjerg throwing his body in the way. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the former Chelsea striker, Dutch international, now the first team coach here at the City Ground. And as passionate off the pitch as he was on it. Cork is onside. 3 options in the middle for Jack Cork. Can he pick out a teammate? Connolly, it's saved! De Prado with the rebound, and Southampton are in front at the City Ground. Gulli de Prado has hardly made an impression in this match so far, but he has now. It's his 11th goal of the season, and the Championship leaders are in front. Cork had plenty of time. He had 3 options. Connolly with the first shot, and then fired in the rebound from de Prado. Nottingham Forest 0, Southampton 1. McCleary, can he get away from Fox? Decent ball in, just put behind by Hammond. Tudgay was approaching. No chances from the Southampton skipper. McGugan again to deliver. Right across goal and just over. What a chance that was. Golden opportunity for Lynch. Good movement inside the penalty area, and Lynch heads it up rather than down. Steve Cottrell has never beaten Southampton as an opposing manager. 3 draws and 2 defeats. All 5 of those were while he was in charge at Burnley. Forest get a free kick. And again, Lewis McGugan might fancy his chances from here, even though it is from quite a distance out. Lines it up carefully. It's all the way through, and Davis has to beat it away. That shot got a touch on the way, and Davis was able to react. More encouragement for Forest. Away by Hoybell. Oh, there was a leading arm there from Luke Chambers, and it's Connolly who is down. Southampton players surrounding the referee, and Chambers may very well be in a bit of trouble here, because the referee in his right hand looks to be holding a red card, and it is a dismissal for the Forest defender. Chambers sent off early in the second half, a straight red. And look at the reaction from the Forest boss. Here's the challenge again. Well, there's contact, most certainly. Is there intent? That's what the referee's got to decide. And he decided there was. Here's Connolly. Gulli's in the middle. Connolly leaves it. Gulli! Nice move from Southampton. The low ball in, Connolly leaves it, and Gulli perhaps wasn't expecting that ball to come through to him. Now a bit of room here for Adam Lallana. Connolly's in the middle, de Prado looking to join him. De Prado, poor first touch. Here's Cork, fires it in, and away to safety off the boot of Musi. Could Jack Cork perhaps have struck this shot first time? Perhaps not. Cork. Here's Lallana. Connolly is wide. 3 in the middle. This is Hammond. Harding. A little bit of room perhaps for Schneiderlin, and it's tucked away in the end by David Connolly. The man who is a villain in the eyes of the Forest supporters is once again a hero in the eyes of those Southampton fans, and has that sealed all 3 points for the Championship leaders. Harding with the ball in, the little touch on, and Connolly was first to react. Another corner for Southampton. That's appreciated by the Southampton fans behind the goal, which their team are attacking. One was aimed towards Hammond, didn't reach him. This is Lallana. Schneiderlin might think about a shot here. Morgan Schneiderlin. Oh, what a goal that is! it's something of a rarity as well. Just his third goal for Southampton in nearly 150 appearances for the club. Goalkeeper might just get a touch to it. Possibly does. But he couldn't prevent it going in. And Southampton lead by 3-0. And a chance now for Southampton to break. This is Adam Lallana. Connolly to his left. And Holmes is making a run to his right. Here's Lee Holmes. Almost. Denied by a flying save from Camp. Three in the middle. Connolly. Hammond! And again, Camp denies Southampton a fourth goal. Plenty of space here for the Southampton skipper, and he hits it very well. Good height, though, for the goalkeeper to deal with. Plenty of Forest fans might have left. None of a Southampton persuasion. They hope for another goal. Well, they'll get another corner. Camp again pushing it behind. Corner floated in. Oh! What a chance for Aaron Martin. The little touch on at the near post. And Martin, just look on the right of your picture here. He's all alone. Southampton so close to goal number 4.
It's a tough division. I think everyone's well aware of that. You've got to grind out results, and you've got to work very, very hard, and you've got no divine right to play the football that, we've played some good football this season, but you've got no divine right to do that. You've got to work very hard to earn the right to go and do it, and today we've certainly gone and done it. Again, it's 2 games now without Ricky Lambert, and we've won them both.
We know that our performance the last few games wasn't the best, and we knew that, so we worked very hard in the training run to correct that, and today we put a good shift on.
Steve, let's cut straight to the quick. The red card that undoubtedly changed the game. What was your view of it?
From where I am, I haven't got a good view of it, really. I can't see whether it is or it isn't. So, I'm not hiding behind that. I can't see it at the moment. So I need a close look at it.
How much did that change the game, though, the fact that you lost such a key player?
I think it was a foul before it. I think there's a foul on Marcus Tugge. I think there's a push in the back from where they've won the header.
Well, I'll tell you what then, for Steve Cottrell's benefit and for everybody else's, let's see if there was a foul in the build-up to Luke Chambers' red card. Was this a foul on Marcus Tugge?
Well, from my perspective, you can make a case maybe he's had a slight nudge in the back, as Hoysfeld just stood his ground.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a clear-cut foul. However, as I said, you can make a case either way. I don't think this is a sending off. I think he leads with his arm. He doesn't throw the arm. Connolly, in a way, it's one of those where, as I say, he leads there, doesn't throw it as an elbow. It's a booking. You've got to go up, elevate yourself with your arm. He certainly, as I say, there's a difference in leading with it and throwing it. I think that's what he does. And also I think you've got Connolly who actually heads his arm as well. So it just exacerbates the situation. So for me, it's probably a booking through leading with your arm and not throwing it.
It ended up in a comfortable victory for Southampton, but Nottingham Forest, they clearly had few chances to score in the first half. They just weren't clinical enough, and I suppose this epitomised the moment when the ball went the other end.
Yes,
and then Prado puts it away.
How quickly a game can change. I mean, Harewood just takes a fraction too long there. You see here, even though he takes too long, he's actually hitting it into the crowd of players rather than putting it into the side where there aren't any players and there's an empty net. And then, of course, they break. They never get composure again. And Prado put Southampton 1-0 up. And, you've gone from a situation where you've missed a perfectly good chance in the game to being a goal down against a side, let's be honest, who are good when they get ahead because they can knock the ball around, and particularly when they went down to 10 men, that's when Southampton really started to take command because they will make the pitch big and they will start passing the ball around.
Very encouraging result for Southampton, particularly without Ricky Lambert. Well, that meant West Ham had to beat Portsmouth down at Fratton Park to keep up the pressure on the Saints.
If West Ham are to return to the Premier League immediately, they'll need to start winning again. They'd only had 2 victories in 6 league games before the visit to Portsmouth, but they seem to be back on track here, and when Tal Ben Haim challenged Winston Reid, they had a penalty. Now, all of Mark Noble's goals this season had come from the spot prior to this game, and that trend continued here as he kept his cool to put West Ham ahead after 24 minutes. After the break came a key moment. David Norris was too late and too dangerous on Reed for referee Kevin Friend's liking, and he sent him off. West Ham looked to make the most of their numerical advantage and almost scored a second. Jack Collison's curling effort shaving the woodwork, but it didn't matter as West Ham kept pace with Southampton.
Doncaster may be 4 points from safety, but Cardiff knew not to take them lightly. Rovers have won their last 3 games at home, including a win over leaders Southampton, no less. It was a lacklustre first half, but perked up in the second. Cardiff had a narrow escape. El Hadj Diouf showed some neat footwork, but not enough to beat David Marshall or his post for that lucky break you need near the bottom. Cardiff's defence was then caught out by Diouf's free kick and could do little from Habib Bey's cutback, but James O'Connor couldn't direct his header on goal. Doncaster will work hard to keep their top scorer Billy Sharp before the transfer window ends this month, but he didn't add to his value or his 10 league goals, and even thought he should have had a penalty here. Cardiff tried to stage a late smash and grab for the win, but Peter Whittingham's shot, like his team's performance, lacked any real punch. Dean Saunders then had to make do with 1 point when it should have been 3.
Well, we didn't get any luck today. I think we played really well. We had enough chances to win 3 games, and from start to finish I thought the boys were excellent. We dominated the game.
In the North East they stand together as Darlington fans collected money outside Middlesbrough's ground in order to save their club from imminent closure. Burnley boss Eddie Howe will complete a year in charge of the Clarets this week, and his side took just 6 minutes to get the celebrations underway. Jay Rodriguez grabbing his 8th league goal of the season and his 14th in all. In the absence of first-choice goalkeeper Jason Steele, Middlesbrough handed a debut to 18-year-old Connor Ripley, son of former club favourite Stewart. He'll have better days as Burnley's Kieran Trippier scored from miles out. In the second half, Borough just couldn't break down a resolute Burnley defence. Justin Hoyt smashing wide as an example. Afterwards, Tony Mowbray's reaction was blunt. Eddie Howe's humble.
Whenever you come to Middlesbrough, you know you're going to be in for a really tough game. They're a very good side, and as you say, to score 2 good goals and keep a clean sheet, it's been a good day.
It's a frustrating day. We need to put it behind us quickly and be better next week.
Nick Barby's first match in permanent charge as Hull manager saw his side trying to avoid a 4th league defeat in a row. But it needed some quick thinking in the game's opening minutes from their on-loan keeper Vita Minone to prevent the visitors taking early lead. Emile Sinclair unlucky not to get on the score sheet. And it was Sinclair at it again, beating Minone, but not defender James Chester, who timed his challenge to perfection to clear the danger. But Hull weren't worried, and the first goal of the Barmby era arrived after 27 minutes. Aaron McLean made the opening. Robert Corran scored his 8th goal of the season, apparently to universal acclaim within the KC Stadium. Peterborough continued to threaten, and they were convinced they should have been awarded a penalty. Fullback Mark Little charged forward and caused panic in the Hull area. Daniel Cairns went down under a challenge by Minone. No penalty, only a goal kick from referee Mr Madley. At the other end, Joe Lewis then pulled off a superb double save to keep Peterborough in the hunt. First from Paul McKenna, then Corran. The game still wasn't won. After the break, Hull had to withstand a period of Peterborough pressure before getting forward themselves in search of a second goal, which almost came from Cameron Stewart. Then late on, Peterborough had a lucky escape when Corey Evans teed up Robbie Brady, whose shot took a deflection of defender Gabriel Sakani, but still stayed out. Nonetheless, another good day at the office for Nick Barmby.
Portman Road hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Blackpool. Before this one, with struggling Ipswich, they'd never won there in 8 previous visits. And things didn't look good for them in this one. Barely 10 minutes on the clock and they were behind. Lee Martin drove in a cross for Jason Scotland, and Angel Martinez glanced the ball into his own net. Scotland notice with natty Ipswich blue matching mittens. There'll be more of this. Blackpool went into this one looking for a third championship win in 4, but were up against it shortly after the break when Ipswich scored another. Andy Drury teeing up New Zealander Tommy Smith to head home his first of the season, 2 up after the hour. But when you're up against the leakiest defence in the Championship, you're always in with a chance of scoring. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, Blackpool pulled one back. Substitute Elliot Grandin, 3 minutes after coming on with the simplest of tap-ins, and the colour-coordinated gloves were on. And 10 minutes from time, that Ipswich defence was at it again. Grandin given time and space to pick out Kevin Phillips, who did what he does best. So it was looking like a draw. Or was it? Because with full-time approaching, Ipswich's Aaron Cresswell delivered a tantalising ball for Lee Martin, but he bungled his lines.
Well, at least we got something out of it. It sounds a bit crazy being 2-0 up, but 2-0 up 10 minutes ago, you're almost thinking, well, you know, deja vu here. So I'll never say I'm pleased, I'm not, but at least we got something.
Leeds were at Selhurst Park for what was their 50th league match against Crystal Palace, and a win would be their first double over the Eagles since the 1994-5 season in the Premier League. But any thoughts of a Leeds win were immediately on hold as Palace got off to a flyer. After just 6 minutes, Darren Ambrose fed Chris Martin, who was allowed time and space to place his second league goal of the season past a frustrated Andy Lonergan. Palace had keeper Julian Speroni to thank for preserving their lead. First, he kept out Adam Clayton's shot, then recovered to react brilliantly to Tom Lee's low shot. But with half-time approaching, Palace were reduced to 10 men. Sean Scannell appeared to clip the heels of Danny Pugh. It was a second bookable offence, so the 22-year-old was off. The game potentially changed. And so it proved. A man to the good, Leeds went in search of an equaliser and found it courtesy of an inspiring source. Barely 2 weeks after undergoing surgery on his appendix, Robert Snodgrass was in the right place to guide in Ross McCormack's cross. Leeds remain within striking distance of the playoffs.
Yeah, eventful game, that one at Selhurst Park. We saw 2 young squads in Burnley and Hull coming away with good victories, Steve. Burnley particularly, I mean, I saw them win at West Ham a few weeks ago, now to inflict Middlesbrough's only second home defeat of the season. It's a statement of intent, isn't it, from Burnley?
Well, it's 2 big results, certainly, in recent weeks. And all of a sudden, laying just outside of the playoffs. Which,
incredible.
If you'd have said at the start of the season, I think everybody was wondering when the tide was going to turn for Eddie Howe. It's taken a while, let's be honest. But he's obviously had an awful lot of work to do in a short space of time. And things start to look as if they're turning, and turning just at the right time as well.
Some Hull fans may have feared the worst, I suppose, as soon as the full-time reins were handed to Nick Barmby. But he got a great win today. And I suppose also he wanted assurances, didn't he, at the end of the day, that his best players aren't going to be sold. And he got those assurances from the Allen family. And not many clubs can be in that situation.
No, but having said that, I mean, firstly, he didn't dive into the job, did he? He wanted to see if he could do it, if they wanted him to do it, which I thought was very professional. Also, they are a forward-looking club. You know, ever since the takeover has happened, you know, they put in a couple of bids, bought a couple of £1 million players, Fright to name but just one of them. So they are a forward-thinking club. They're financially, I mean, there are no rumours. They are, you know, as I say, in a good state of mind with regard to that. So it is nice to be able to keep your best players, and especially when you're chugging along quite nicely like they are.
They are indeed. Right, let's find out the Championship's evening game and how it unfolded at Vicarage Road, where Watford have hit some decent form of late. 1 league defeat in 9 has seen them move away from the relegation zone, while their opponents, Reading, started the day in a playoff position on the back of 4 straight wins in December. Well, Watford made 3 changes from their FA Cup win over Bradford, with Scott Loach, Lee Hodson and Prince Boaben coming in for the Hornets. Reading also made 3 changes to their starting 11, with Jimmy Kebe, Jem Karachan and Noel Hunt all returning.
Into Hunt. Kebe. Up by 2, but checks back to Cummings. And goes the cross for Hunt, who heads Whisker past the post. Game's first chance. First scare for the home team, this. Not too far away, was it? Now Robson Carney will try and get the better of the fullback, young Lee Hodson. Robson Carney's cross, a great ball into him. Was there a nudge? Here's Jimmy Kebe back in. Loach beats it away. As the cross comes in here from Robson Carney. Look at the nudge on. Is it Hunt there perhaps with Dickinson? Play went on. And Loach made a good save. Forsyth. Bhasin. Good turn. Bhasin, good ball too, and now Deeney's away. For Watford, Troy Deeney. Deeney's cross. Own goal. Sean Cummings. Good cross. And the defender unlucky. Arriving was Sordell. He would have scored surely himself, but Cummings got there ahead of the striker to score the own goal. It's 1-0 to the Hornets. Was Yates caught? Yes, he was, by Hal Robson-Kanu, and there's going to be a free kick here. Robson-Kanu's 4th yellow card of the campaign to date as well. And this is why. Late challenge on Mark Yates. Yellow card for the Welsh 5 times capped international. Deeney, great control. Troy Deeney will take on the shot too. Great save, Federici. That shot had bags of sting and venom behind it from Troy Deeney. Only 2 league goals so far this campaign. They're from a Warsaw striker, but Federici make a very good stop. Now it's Robson-Kanu. And Robson-Kanu's ball towards the far post. Kebe arriving. And Jimmy Kebe ties the match up at 1 apiece. Robson-Kanu's ball in towards that far post, all the space, all the time he wanted there. Kebe to score just his 2nd league goal this season. Over into Bhasin here, and Eustace. Deeney with 3 Reading bodies running. He's going to get the free kick though here. Houston's cross here, and maybe a shout for handball, or maybe a shout for a penalty here. A nudge in the back. It's Yates to hit it. He's hit it well too. It's a whisker over the top there from Watford. Yates can't get the dip he was looking for. Forsyth. Forsyth stopped by Karajan. I felt there the Watford man followed through somewhat. Control the challenge. He's not off the ground, it has to be said. There's only 1 foot as well, which he's gone with. Yellow card shown here to the winger. Kebe has Church in the centre demanding the pass, which doesn't come. Forsyth is caught in there now, having been shown a yellow card. Forsyth is walking a pretty fine line, isn't he? Takes man, not ball here, doesn't he? That, I think, is a final warning we can say for Craig Forsyth. 1 more, and you're off. Hunt. There's no flag despite the appeals. Here's Hal Robson-Kanu. Right onto Jay Tabb, and there's a tumble, and Hunt goes down. Referee says get back to your feet. Nothing doing this time. No penalty given. There's a hold there on the shoulder, isn't he, though, Lee Hodgson? Ian Hart. That's crossed Lafondra waiting, he got the touch too. Robson-Kanu's shot deflects. There's going to be a corner. Snapshot here by Hal Robson-Kanu, wasn't it? As it broke to him. In by Hart. And towards goal and hooked in brilliantly. Fine finish, and Adam Lafondra's goal drought is over. Hooked in superbly. But is he offside? The goal stands for sure. Played on for me by Sordell on the goal line. Lafondra finishes superbly, and Reading with a smash and grab.
And we conceded a very soft goal by our standards, late on, which gets them the 3 points. So we're disappointed in that. But overall, the performance level wasn't what we were expecting and wasn't what we've been doing lately.
I thought when we went 1-0 down, and it was obviously disappointing to go 1 down, but with the group that I've got, I know that they'll stay in the game and they'll give us everything that they've got. And it was a terrific goal for Jimmy to get back to 1-1, and then Adam Lafondra, that's Adam Lafondra. It was a fantastic finish, and I thought we were good value for the 3 points.
Yeah, it was a real instinctive finish from Adam Lafondra, as I suppose it was a perfect response to the cup defeat to Stevenage at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I thought overall they just had that little bit more quality in certain areas, which you'd imagine from their relative league positions, and a goal scorer's finish to win the game.
We've got to look back on a couple of video nasties. Steve, I'm surprised we didn't see at least one red card for either of these.
Well, I think certainly in this Premier League they would have both gone off. I think, to be fair, what looks the worst challenge is the Robson-Kanu one here. But to be fair, if you're talking about actually doing damage, it's probably Craig Forsyth, because, as you can see here, there's more force in this. Robson-Kanu actually makes contact, and the injury is sustained, but he gets up.
That's not too dissimilar from what we've seen in the Premier League.
If Karachan doesn't get his leg off the ground, then Forsyth, the force of his challenge, can be quite quite dangerous.
But it begs the question: why don't we have that consistency?
Well, we don't, do we? Because, as I said, we've seen it already. I mean, we saw it in the Premiership last week with two similar tackles, and one stays on and one doesn't. Here, I mean, you would have said both of those would probably have gone in the Premiership. I'm not sure. I mean, you certainly make a case for both staying on the pitch. I don't think it's a cast iron. Certainly, they should both go off, but they're both not the greatest looking tackles in the world.
Well, as for the rest of the Championship, it's been a lean period for Leicester City, with just one league win in 6. On Saturday, they took on an out-of-sorts Barnsley.
Vastey, a lot of space here, and he's got numbers. Drinkwater, Gray in the area, finds Drinkwater to Gray! 12 minutes gone, and Barnsley have the lead. Lovely run by Vastey. Drinkwater found Gray, and no mistake. Leicester just backed off. 5th goal of the season. That's a long ball looking for Lloyd Dyer. Oh, and he scored! Well, the Barnsley defence just seemed to stand and watch. One touch, and the second touch beat the keeper. 3 minutes after Barnsley take the lead, Leicester are level. Now is the time to kick on. Just the response Nigel Pearson wanted. Vastey, yet again spaced down this left-hand side. Gray waiting. It's Drinkwater again. He's just waiting, but Gray isn't, and Gray scored! It's the same combination. As for the first goal, so for the second. First time with the foot, this time with the head, and Leicester have it all to do again. Keefield impressed, but they need to hold on to this lead. Corner to Leicester. Good jump by Foster. Addison clears. Tunchev off the head there. Wellens onto the bar. Still not clear. Well, Barnsley didn't know too much about this. Addison first, Tunchev volley, and Wellens then thought he had the keeper beaten, and he did, but not the goal. Good run here by McEverley. To Dunn. This could be 3-1. Dunn shoots. Good save. Worked it well, Matty Dunn, the substitute. Lost Konchesky. Vastey. Now, surely, 2 against 2. He's on his own, it's 1 against 1 now. Surely must score. Good save again by Schmeichel. Was he trying to be too clever? Should he have taken it round? Well, Schmeichel's large, but his mood is deeper now and more gloomy.
Andy Gray, 6 goals now in all competitions this season. What are your thoughts on his 2 goals?
Superb, well worked, and he's in the right place to finish through good movement. So, really pleased for Andy Gray. I thought his hold-up play today was magnificent.
To be fair to them, they deserve to win the game. We caused ourselves a lot of problems, and clearly we need to make some changes.
Stand by for 6 goals and 2 sendings off. We'll try and fit it all in. First, Curtis Davis scored after 18 minutes, 1-0 to Birmingham. 4 minutes later, Millwall were really up against it when they were reduced to 10 men. Defender Shane Lowry sent off after reacting to Nikola Zigic's challenge. Referee Jonathan Moss taking the advice of his assistant. Lowry's face a picture as he walked the walk of shame. There must be something about Zigic, as in the second half, Millwall were reduced to 9 men following Alan Dunn's lunge at the giant Serbian. Within minutes, Chris Hughton's side had taken full advantage of their superior numbers. Marlon King scoring to put Birmingham 2-0 up. And then, in the last quarter of an hour, Millwall simply collapsed. Chris Burke found both time and space in the Millwall box to end the match as a contest. 3-0 to the visitors. Zigic was substituted in that last period, but if Millwall thought his replacement would be less trouble, they were wrong, as Adam Rooney made it 4-0. And there was still more Millwall torture to come. King then scored his second goal as Kenny Jackett's side prayed for the final whistle and the comfort of the dressing room. 5-0. And the Blues, or Yellows, weren't finished. Nathan Redmond grabbing the 6th goal to confirm Birmingham's biggest away win since 1998 and leave Chris Hughton very, very happy with his side's clinical finishing.
When they went down to 9 men, it was going to be a question of can we use them spaces well enough. And we did, and the real bonus is we got the goals on top as well.
It was a very merry, festive period for Derby. 3 successive league wins had put them on top of the Championship's form table. The same, though, couldn't be said for Coventry. They'd won just 2 of the last 14 Championship games. But early on, the visitors were better than their rock-bottom status suggests. Frank fielding at full stretch to prevent Gary McSheffrey stealing a lead. In an entertaining first half, both sides created chances. Theo Robinson ensured Coventry keeper Joe Murphy looked lively to keep the scores level. Derby continued to press after the break. This free kick from Jamie Ward signalled their intent. This one looked anyone's for the taking, and Gary McSheffrey was again denied by fielding to keep the status quo. If they scored today, the Rams would make it 100 goals in competitive matches with Coventry. And with 15 minutes to go, it was ton up. Craig Bryson made the running, and Callum Ball's neat finish, his 3rd goal in all competitions, sealed it for the hosts. Derby are now up to 8th.
Disappointed because we've come here and given a good account of ourselves and missed some good chances, which is disappointing.
They've played very well today. At times in the first half, they're all over us. So full credit to them. I don't understand why they're right down there. It's very hard on them, the result today for them, but we'll take that.
Brighton fans will be hoping their 3-0 thumping of league leaders Southampton can reignite their stuttering season. Visitors Bristol City in league action after losing to League 2 Crawley in the FA Cup. And Brighton continued their New Year's goal-scoring form into this match. Just after the half-hour mark, Spaniard Inigo Calderon picked his spot to score perfectly, his first of the season. Was that the shape of things to come? Well, actually, that was the first effort on target in what was, in truth, a turgid affair, but the action hotted up as half-time approached. David James at his very best to deny the Seagulls, or at least a sparrow, Matthew Sparrow. And continuing with the gratuitously over-egged birds metaphor, as full-time approached, the Robins went 2 behind as Will Buckley was first to a Will Hoskins flick-on. In fact, the visitors had to wait until the final minute for their first and only effort on target, but Peter Brezovan was equal to Brett Pittman's effort, and Brighton and Gus Poyet had back-to-back wins.
This is our best performance for a while. We were solid, we passed the ball when we have to, we didn't take any risks when you don't have to. We scored 2 unbelievable goals, so very, very pleased today.
So Brighton getting a back-to-back league wins and a cracking goal that from Inigo Calderon. We saw both your old clubs go head-to-head at the Den in Millwall and Birmingham, but they conceded 6 this time of Millwall. What's this going to do for their morale?
Well, I don't think it's just conceding 6. It's yet again another game where they haven't scored a goal. I think psychologically that sort of in the end that does have tiring effect, shall we say. You go a goal behind and all of a sudden you're thinking, well, you know, it's been so long since we've scored a few goals this season, can we get back in the game? And immediately there's a sort of like a negative effect on the side. So I think that's something they've got to rectify. And generally, you know, the manager's quite active with regard to getting strikers in.
Yeah.
So no doubt January hopefully will be a busy time for them.
With Derby, it's been a strange old season. They string together positive results with negative. They're in the middle of a great run at the minute. I know Clough Senior talked about the virtues of a clean sheet.
Yep.
4 out of 5. I think they're becoming masters of the 1-0 win at the minute.
Well, there you go. You give yourself a chance, don't you? And I mean, if you have got a foundation to build from, certainly, and it's a foundation that means you're not conceding goals, and invariably you'll go into games, you think, I'll tell you what, we've always got a chance of nicking this. We keep it at 0-0, 75 minutes today, they get the winning goal, and that's how you will apply yourself.
Sean Barker's back, the captain, alongside Jason Shackle. He's got his first choice back 4. That's what he wanted.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes when you know, there are extenuating circumstances maybe for not getting the results that you want. As you say, no excuses today, and he's got his back foot exactly how he wants, and he's getting the results that he wants.
Good win for Barnsley. I suppose whenever they take on some of the bigger teams in the division, it's the have-nots against the haves.
Yeah, of course.
But Keith Hill, he relishes these challenges because that's what he's grown to know at Rochdale.
Well,
that was a great result against Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a case of, you know, he did a brilliant job at Rochdale. You know, expectations weren't that you know, they would go out and roll teams over, and same at Barnsley. But no, he's done extremely well. He's, as you say, cuts his cloth accordingly. He's used to working under those circumstances, and sometimes you get a little bit more latitude because, as you say, expectations aren't probably as high as they are at other clubs. But he's had a tremendous time so far. 1 win in 7 for Leicester under Nigel Pearson. Yes, his return hasn't quite happened yet. Yeah, I mean, it's different players, different personnel. You know, the players that he had originally, you know, were in his sort of style and in the way that he managed. Maybe these are a little bit more flamboyant, shall we say. So they'll be getting used to each other, sort of coming together. But yeah, I'm sure they will start picking up points. There's too much quality there for them to be 15th in that division. I hope so. No prizes for guessing what the story of the week has been in League One. A month after parting company with Phil Brown, yesterday Preston announced the identity of his successor. So Clem's been to meet the man who swapped one of the division's surprise promotion contenders for one of the founder members of the Football League who are in all sorts of bother.
The wrangling and negotiations got so drawn out that at one stage there was talk of calling in Kofi Annan, but by this morning, one of the Football League's oldest names had finally got their man. This man. Over the past couple of years, as Preston have stumbled through financial meltdown and relegation, Graham Westley steered Stevenage out of non-league football and to successive promotions.
Bhasin, good driving run forward, and a fine finish as well.
He leaves them 3 points off the playoff places and inherits a team who've dropped from 2nd to 13th over the past few months, with just 2 wins from their last 20 games.
I tell you what, there's been a lot of tears this week because leaving those boys behind has been very, very difficult. I can tell you they've won a lot of medals for me, for themselves, for the football club, and we've done a lot together, so it's been very difficult. But this is a magnificent football club. It's got a great history, and it's up to me and my team, the lads and the club, to get together now and make sure that the future has got some trophies in it.
Now tell me, what do you know about Graham Westley?
Not a thing. As far as I've heard, my sources down south, he believes in the long ball game.
Why Graham Westley?
Just look at his track record. He's got a 52% win rate since he's been back at Stevenage in 2008. He doesn't like losing football matches, nor do I. And if I had any doubts, this week's proven we were right, because his chairman didn't want to lose him. It's been like pulling teeth, and that says there's a wonderful football manager who a chairman values, didn't want to lose. They're the people we want.
You look around yourself and you think, you know, could this football club get itself into the Premier League? You have to say that, you know, that's an ambition that's not unrealistic.
Yeah, I think Preston have been disappointed. They've had a couple of managerial changes in the last 2 or 3 years. They used to be a club that was renowned for being stable and having managers like Billy Davis and Craig Brown and Moisey. So I think the fans have got a bit disgruntled with all those changes. So hopefully he's here for the longer term.
But I believe he's a bit of a hard taskmaster, so these boys are going to have to work.
You had the players doing double shifts often at Stevenage. Is that something you'll be introducing? Are you going to get them working hard?
Just doubles, you haven't done your homework. We used to do trebles and quadruples on certain days. We did a lot of work at Stevenage, no question. My work ethic will never change. I don't expect the workload to reduce, but that doesn't scare great players.
Graham Alexander and David Unsworth remained in charge for this match, two renowned defenders who must have been cringing as Wycombe pinched the lead. Marcello Trotter at the second attempt, giving the new Preston manager up in the stands plenty to ponder. Graham Westley, though, will have enjoyed the set pieces, always a Stevenage speciality. Harry Bung gobbled up the loose ball to mark his debut on loan from Manchester City and draw North End level. And another corner paid dividends 13 minutes into the second half. Jake Jervis with his second in as many Preston appearances, having been borrowed from Birmingham. Those corners were causing chaos. 4 minutes later, Anthony Stewart shoved Craig Morgan, and Preston had the chance to make the lead more comfortable. Paul Parry obliged, and at 3-1 up, the rest of the match should have been straightforward. Preston, though, made life harder for themselves just seconds later. Stephen Smith clipping Kadeem Harris to collect a second booking. So the home side had to see out the final quarter of the match a man light. And they did that successfully enough, the only damage Wycombe could inflict coming too late. Trotter's tally rising to an impressive 8 goals in 8 games since arriving on loan from Fulham, but not enough for the strugglers.
Club captain Mark Roberts took charge of Stevenage for the trip to Rochdale. His first act as player-manager was to preside over this superb performance. It wasn't only departures at the Borough this week. Luke Freeman made his move from Arsenal permanent and celebrated with the opening goal 18 minutes in. A committed Stevenage showed no signs of missing their former manager. Their second came from the long-serving Laurie Wilson, whose Borough career predates that of the departing Westley. Rochdale are managerless themselves. Unlike Roberts, caretaker boss Chris Beach is still looking for his first win. A debut goal from Blackpool loanee Brett Ormerod briefly raised hopes of a comeback. But Dale were undone in what Beach called 5 mad minutes. Stevenage immediately restored their 2-goal cushion and Wilson grabbed his second of the match. It all proved too much for Joe Widdowson. Moments later, the Rochdale defender earned himself a second yellow card for this rash challenge on Chris Beardsley. Relegation threatened Rochdale fell apart after that. On this evidence, they need to find a new boss quicker than Stevenage. 2 minutes later, Borough made it 4-1. The former Gillingham prospect Freeman notching a superb second. With the cold weather ending Carlisle's weekend early, Stevenage creeped back into the playoff places. Joel Byron wrapped up a 5-star showing that suggests a third successive promotion may yet be on the cards.
What a perfect day for you. Your new club gets their first home win since September, and your old one has a really good result.
Yeah, that was always on the cards. I think the lads at Stevenage were always going to post that result. There was a lot of determination and resolve in the camp. We worked hard all week, and the boys picked up everything that they'd done and put themselves together on Thursday and Friday. That result was always coming. I'm delighted from smashing bunch, and they'll go on from strength to strength, no question about that. Here, it's a lovely way to arrive, get the 3 points, despite the sending off, despite going a goal down. Lads showed good character, and good job done by Graham and David.
You are going to claim this as your first game in charge, aren't you?
No, I don't. That would be unfair. I did manage to say a few words before the game to the players, but very definitely Graham and David have managed the game, and credit to them.
And all the real work starts for you on Monday.
Yeah, it's going to be a big job. I think it's evident that there's gaps in where we're at, and there's a lot of work to do. But if there wasn't a job to do, they wouldn't have brought me in.
Well, all in all, the ideal outcome for Graham Westley with his old club and his new club both winning on Saturday. Is this a good move for Graham Westley then?
Yes. I mean, it doesn't, on the face of it, probably short term, you'd probably say, what's he doing? But you're going to a club, with all due respect to Stevenage, who are a much bigger club.
Yeah, because you're weighing up club positions against club sizes.
Of course. And as I say, short term, Stevenage are absolutely flying. They're top 6, having a brilliant time. Preston started to get a few results of late. But ultimately, I think long term, Preston are a bigger club.
Yeah.
And, with all due respect, as I say, over a period of time, you would expect them to come out on top.
Fans will want him to weave his magic as soon as possible, of course. Yeah, well, let's round off the rest of League One, starting with arguably the game of the day at Hillsborough. It was 3rd v 1st. The Sheffield Wednesday played the leaders Charlton.
No sign of Lineker or Hansen at Hillsborough, but this was definitely match of the day as third-place Sheffield Wednesday looked to close the gap on leaders Charlton. Plenty to chew on too in the post-match analysis, including this chance for Chris Lines. Having survived that scare, a peach of a free kick from captain Johnny Jackson had Chris Powell dreaming of a crucial win on his first anniversary in charge. Jackson's 9th of the campaign proved to be the difference, although Bradley Wright Phillips could have made absolutely sure, but former Addicks keeper Nicky Weaver kept him at bay. No matter, the leader's now 7 points clear of third.
Johnny Jackson, my skipper, came up with the goods, you know, and it was a fantastic piece of skill and top quality free kick, and you know, he's been missing from our side for a number of weeks for injury, but he's my skipper, he leads by example, he scores goals from midfield, and he's done it for us today.
Wednesday's loss was United's gain. The Blades put a 4-point gap between themselves and their arch-rivals thanks to victory at Bury. The Shakers had held their own before Richard Creswell grabbed the opener 9 minutes after the restart. United took over Gig Lane for the day. 4,000 fans made the trip across the Pennines and witnessed Ched Evans' 13th goal in 12 games. Lee Williamson capped off his good week in front of goal with United's third. Second place in League One cemented. Next up for the Blades is a trip to Charlton.
Huddersfield had 5 players involved in a car accident after training on Friday. Alan Lee needing stitches in a head wound. That didn't stop the target man from giving Oldham a second-half scare. And close to the end, he clinched a victory which saw Lee Clark's men move up a place to third, on the end of fellow sub Danny Kadamatri's cross to decide a hard-fought contest. Paul Dick offside undone with just 4 minutes to spare.
Since Paul's been the manager at Oldham, they've always been tight affairs, the games between the two clubs, so we had to stick together and make sure that we went right till the end, and it helps when you know that you've got players who can come off the bench and make a contribution like the lads have.
The focus pre-match was on Walsall keeper Jimmy Walker, his 530th appearance for the club, breaking the record previously held by former fullback Colin Harrison. Perhaps the landmark occasion could inspire Walsall to a first away win since the opening month of the campaign. Brentford's Clayton Donaldson did his best to take his share of the headlines. Down the other end, Alex Nichols teed up John Macken, who then tested the reflexes of Simon Moore. Another draw leaves Brentford 4 points shy of the top 6, but at least Walker can celebrate his special day with a clean sheet.
Notts County made a magnificent start at Bournemouth. Hamza Ben Sharif launching their quest for a first league win in 6 in style. But the home team was back on terms as Michael Symes' shot was parried into the path of Wes Morgan. If he felt justified milking the applause for the tap-in, imagine what Jeff Hughes might have done if his eye-catching effort had gone in at the other end. A wonderful turn from Hughes, but the rest went wrong. After the break, more dazzling footwork had the county defenders bewitched. Sean McDonald allowed to advance without a tackle being attempted, and Wes Fogden won the match for Bournemouth. The perfect way for boss Lee Bradbury to celebrate his contract being extended to 2015.
Scunthorpe maintain their unbeaten start to 2012 despite a revolving door transfer policy. It's 5 out and 3 in since the Irons' last outing. One of the new faces is Josh Walker. On Friday he made Scunthorpe his 3rd club this season, an emergency loan signing sidestepping FIFA rules. Scunny have made a habit of losing leads this season. When Anthony Wordsworth's penalty appeals were waved away, Iron thought they'd survived a first-half scare. It was a false sense of security. When Stephen Gillespie was brought down by Eddie Nolan, referee David Phillips had no alternative. Gillespie, once a transfer target for Scunthorpe, took the kick himself and levelled things just before the half-hour mark. Colchester are flat-track bullies. They're unbeaten against sides in the bottom half, but Wordsworth was denied by Sam Slocum after he had spilled Gillespie's initial effort. Scunthorpe deserved their point, but it might have been more. Walker was denied a debut brace when teammate Jordan Robertson blocked his goal-bound effort.
Neil Cooper planned to use this away day as a bonding exercise. The Hartlepool boss hoping to put the long trip to good use by getting to know his players better. He was also looking to build on last week's win over Rochdale, his first since returning as manager. But Exeter are proving hard to beat on their own patch, Artur Krysiak keeping out Anthony Sweeney. Scoring goals is a problem for Paul Tisdale's team. They've failed to hit the target in almost half of their matches so far. Troy Archibald Henville should have made more of his chance late on. This one always looked destined to finish goalless, although Sweeney might have pinched it late on, but it proved to be one of those days.
Leyton Orient found the bottom club Chesterfield tough to crack, but just before half-time the breakthrough. David Mooney nipping in to expertly turn home Lee Cook's cross. Manager Russell Slade rated that one of the best goals since he took charge, but ultimately ended the day frustrated. The O's defending not so impressive as Frenchman Jimmy Huan bagged a debut goal for the Spyrites. A point on the road worth celebrating for John Sheridan's strugglers, even if they have gone 17 league games without winning. Their luck held as Jamie Curitan clipped the bar, 1-1 thanks to Huan.
Gary Johnson's first home game in charge of Yeovil for 6 years had the desired effect for the Glovers. But a first win in 7 didn't look likely once Adam McGurk had given Tranmere the lead. Johnson has only been back in Somerset for 6 days, but has already made 2 loan signings. The manager described Joe Edwards as a Rottweiler who could mark Messi. It looks like the Bristol City fullback can shoot as well. Les Parry admitted that the feel-good factor surrounding Johnson's return played a part in Tranmere's defeat. Then again, so did Rene Gilmartin's good fortune in dealing with Robbie Weir's effort. They say never go back, but a 4,000-strong crowd turned out for Johnson's second coming. The Glovers faithful had witnessed 6 defeats in their last 9 home matches, but this time they were sent home happy by Andrew Williams, who converted Ryan Dixon's cross for a much-needed victory.
Fabulous win for Yeovil. We'll talk about them in a second, but a real statement of intent from Charlton, coming away from Hillsborough, the first team this season to come away with all 3 points.
Yes, and 28 minutes to go 1 up, and then all of a sudden you've got an awful long time then to see the game out, but they've done that. You know,
and they did it in style here,
It's a fantastic finish from Johnny Jackson. We can associate him with that because we've seen him do that before. But as I say, 1-0 up, place that has not suffered a defeat, Sheffield Wednesday, at all this season, and then obviously 62 minutes left to be able to see the game out. We've seen him smash sides, seen him do it the other way. That, as you say, is a real statement.
It's a different art altogether.
Just the way that they've done it,
Yeah, comprehensive win for Sheffield United against Bury. I saw the reverse fixture at Bramall Lane earlier this season. That was a 4-0 victory for the Blades, so another one for them this time round. 8 wins in 9 in the league now. I mean, they're very much keeping up the pressure. I mean, they're up there alongside Sheffield Wednesday. It's turning out to be a great race at the top of this division.
It is. I think they've got Charlton at Charlton next week, so another big game for them, but they've got a striker in form. We've spoken about it already on the programme. You've got somebody like that who can win you a game of football. It's amazing what it can do for you.
Hang on to Ched Evans could well be the secret.
Well, I mean, we're talking about a player who cost £3 million for Man City, so there'll be people there thinking, we're due this one.
Yeah. We saw Huddersfield sneak a victory over Oldham, Alan Lee getting a very late goal. I suppose you have to do all you can as a striker at Huddersfield to get the manager noticing you, because you've got Jordan Rhodes banging them in. You've got 27 this season.
I think Alan Lee came on a sub and Jordan Rhodes is in front of you. As you say, you just got to look after yourself rather than worry about getting ahead of Jordan Rhodes. But he's done his bit, and as I say, you can't rely entirely on Jordan Rhodes to win your games of football, so it's nice to see someone else step up to the plate.
And very many congratulations to Jimmy Walker, goalkeeper, of course, at Walsall. We saw it there. 530 appearances for the Saddlers. It's a club appearance record now. Not bad for a goalkeeper who's 5'9".
Yes, I'm sure that at some stage in his career someone would have said you're far too short for the game, but he's gone on to prove them wrong. Good luck to him as well. It's a fantastic record.
And celebrates with a clean sheet, not too bad.
Brilliant.
On to League Two now, which is coming to the boil nicely as we enter the second half of the season, with just 1 point separating the top 3. We start with joint leaders Crawley. We travel to managerless Bristol Rovers.
Crawley slip off the top, held at Bristol Rovers, who collected their first clean sheet in 13 outings. Michael Poke's save from Matt Tubbs, typical. Rovers expect to appoint their new boss during this week.
A dream start for Northampton. John Johnson's 10th minute opener backing up Paul Sturrock's pre-match claim that this could be a testing trip for his promotion chasers. But Southend hit back just before the break. David Martin, recently signed from Derby, getting the better of Jason Crowe to open his account for his new club. That strike looked to be enough to send the teams to the interval all square, but having ended a 14-match winless streak last weekend, Eddie Boothroyd's men edged ahead for a second time. West Bromley Saido Barrinho beating the offside trap to restore the advantage. They held on to that lead until midway through the second half. Freddie Hall blocking Liam Dickinson's route to goal, which then put the striker on the spot. Dickinson's emphatic finish squared the game up at 2-2, but Northampton refused to go quietly. Michael Jacobs went close to putting the hosts in the lead for a third time. Yet another warning for Sturrock's team, who were being pushed to the limit. Time for Bilal Mojni to make his entrance. The Frenchman, appearing for the first time since being sent off in the Cup last month, popped up with 9 minutes left to put Southend on course for the win that could see them reclaim top spot. And the home side switched off again just 4 minutes later, this time Dickinson given the simple task of slamming home the fourth. That finished off Northampton's challenge, who are now left propping up the table. Southend, meanwhile, are once again looking down on everyone else. Mojni's second right at the death made the scoreline look convincing.
We didn't defend the throw-in right, we didn't defend the corner right, and, you know, we could feel ourselves a little bit unlucky. The fact that we've hit the crossbar, their goalkeeper's made an outstanding save from Barrinho, but this is what happens, and you've got to be able to deal with it.
It was one of those days we were just chasing our tails. But to be fair, you know, the second half we've come out, responded well, had 3 great chances before the penalty to get back in it again. I thought it was not going to be our day.
Cheltenham prepared for this one with a 5-day trip to the Algarve. Jimmy Spencer looked like he was still reclining as he teed up Luke Summerfield for Town's 10th minute opener. Mark Yates says the spirit in his camp couldn't be better. Marlon Pack demonstrated their confidence with this ambitious free kick. Yates says Town even enjoyed their FA Cup defeat at Tottenham. Kaid Mohammed caught the eye at White Hart Lane. He settled things here, an explosive finish, making it 7 wins out of 9 for the irrepressible Robins.
Rotherham boss Andy Scott was furious with his side's first half display against Swindon. Matt Ritchie's 19th minute goal had them reeling. And inside 60 seconds, Paolo Di Canio's promotion chasers were sitting pretty. Simon Ferry cleverly teeing up Ritchie for a second. Brilliantly taken. Swindon found Rotherham more challenging after the break, the home side back in contention 9 minutes after the restart, following a couple of tidy touches from Chris Holroyd and Alex Ravel's emphatic header. But Ritchie's double was enough for the Robins, who edged ever so slightly closer to the top 3.
You have to go back to March last year to find Shrewsbury's last defeat on home soil. This latest success achieved against promotion rivals Gillingham. Gary Richards managing to smuggle Mark Wright's effort to safety, but from the resulting corner, Graham Turner's team headed for the break on top. Shane Cansdell Sheriff putting the hosts on course for a First League win in 4 matches. Andy Hassenthaler was less than impressed with his side's display. Even without top scorer Danny Kedwell through injury, the Gills boss expected much better. 3 minutes from time, Wright blasted in Shrewsbury's second to strengthen their grip on 5th spot.
Crewe overcame a striker crisis to record a first ever league win at Oxford. Injuries to AJ Leach-Smith and his understudy Sean Miller saw Steve Davis loan Burton striker Greg Pearson on Friday. The substitute struck in the 89th minute here, inflicting upon Oxford a first defeat in 7. A late arrival proving inspired for the Railwayman.
Great for him to come on, and he's only, when he picked him up on the way today, he's not met any of the lads, so he doesn't really know the lads very well and what we're doing. But you know, I just put him on there to give us a bit of fresh legs in the middle, and he got on the end of something which is even better.
Former Doncaster boss Sean O'Driscoll's been helping Plymouth's Carl Fletcher cut his teeth in management, so he might just be the experienced mentor Argyle say they'll appoint this week. Simon Walton's strike showed there's plenty of hope for a club that's been in the bottom 2 since August. while a quick short corner proved there are some good ideas coming from the training ground. Luke Young agonisingly close before Argyle legend Paul Watton was denied a dream start to his second spell at the club, almost 17 years after his first Plymouth debut. High-flying Burton were finding life surprisingly tough, but once Calvin Zola had equalised with 17 minutes to play, they really had the chance to test the strugglers' nerve. Plymouth pass with flying colours, Burton slipping to a third straight defeat after Andres Gurrieri wagged a leg at Ashley Hemmings. An 89th minute penalty. Walton's composure was remarkable. Now only goal difference is keeping the Devon club in the drop zone.
This game got the go-ahead despite parts of the pitch being frozen. Not that Barnet were complaining. Clovis Camjo's thunderous header gave Accrington an idea of what was coming their way. Stanley's 10-match unbeaten run has seen them move within touching distance of the playoff places, but the Bees made light work of it. A terrific run from Ricky Holmes had the finish to match. That put the London club on track for back-to-back wins for the first time since the end of November, and on the stroke of half-time, Mark Hughes doubled the advantage. Accrington boss John Coleman had no complaints with the final outcome, but this was a big boost for Barnet's survival hopes. Sam Deering put more gloss on the scoreline to move Laurie Sanchez's team 5 points clear of trouble.
With an FA Cup replay at Bolton looming, Macclesfield Mines may have been elsewhere against Torquay. Ian Morris gave the goals the lead after Mac suffered a collective loss of concentration. Colin Daniel was on target against the Trotters, but he too was left to reflect upon a change in fortune. Previously, only Southend had won at Moss Rose in League Two this season. Torquay earned their 8th win out of 11 with a second goal from a corner. Centre-back Mark Ellis on target. A 12-day break threatened to interrupt the Gold's playoff momentum. Martin Ling's side picked up where they left off. Danny Stevens was unlucky not to make it 3. It's only goal difference that keeps Torquay out of the top 7. So they'll be disappointed with Sean Brisley's late consolation for Mac. It will have to be better to beat Bolton.
Bradford's Ricky Ravenhill turned his ankle pre-match and had to play with it strapped up. It didn't seem to hinder him too much. The Bantams in front on the hour, but this match was really all about the frenetic finale. Morecambe always fancied themselves on the counter-attack, and 4 minutes from time teased a mistake from Bradford's Andrew Davis that appeared to have gifted them a point. Phil Parkinson's men weren't going to take that lying down. They were straight on the attack, and after James Hansen's effort was blocked and got stuck in the mud, Marcel Sipe restored the lead. Just a minute of the regular 90 to go. But in added time, Morecambe produced a goal that was the polar opposite. A slick and impressive move, crowned by Kevin Ellison. They got their draw after all.
Problems continue for Port Vale, who slipped to another defeat against a backdrop of financial struggle. But when Mark Richards headed in Sean Riggs' cross after half an hour, the outlook at least appeared a little brighter. But the Dons were desperate to end their own losing streak. 6 defeats on the bounce prior to this, and 3 successive losses on the road. Sam Moore eventually picked out Jack Midson, who squeezed in the leveller 4 minutes before the interval. Post-match, Mickey Adams declared himself happy with his side's display, and he was almost left to reflect on a first win in 4 matches. Only the woodwork denied Louis Dodds. Instead, the Vale boss is now presiding over his worst run during his 2 spells as manager, and this latest setback was followed by a protest against the club's board. 13 minutes from time, the Dons got their break and took it. A fabulous finish from Luke Moore, clinching maximum points.
The trick to avoiding relegation, they say, is holding one's nerve against fellow strugglers. Hereford can therefore breathe a little easier, having completed a double over Dagenham and Redbridge. The Daggers were 6 games unbeaten but saw their recovery stall. Michael Spillane couldn't convert their best chance of the first half. 2 men in goal-scoring form shared the key moments here. Johan Arkan's 3rd goal in 4 games settled this contest. Daggers' Brian Woodall, meanwhile, had 3 in 3, but desperate Bulls defending prevented him from securing a share of the spoils. The visitors held on and are now 4 points clear of the drop zone.
Really was a massive win for Jamie Pittman's Hereford. It gives them that breathing space there, just above the relegation zone, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it puts 4 points between them and Dagenham, and obviously 4 points between the bottom two as well.
Bilal Mosny, the fans of Southend need no introduction to the Frenchman. He's never too far away from the headlines. I think he dropped a fridge on his toe this week, helping his parents with some white goods or another. Either way, he didn't fracture his toe, but he scored a couple of goals to cap what was a fantastic comeback against Northampton.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw that. That's a super header. It's a brave header as well, and it's another one we just completely dominates the opponent. Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to get those results. It's amazing what you can do when you're playing well. You can get away with a multitude of things.
Yeah. As for Barnet, interestingly, Laurie Sanchez still maintains the game should not have gone ahead at Accrington, even though they won. I mean, this is a win that they desperately needed as well.
Yeah, well, if their game hadn't gone ahead, they'd be sat just 2 points off of relegation. So no, I mean, it's a good win. It's a fantastic win, to be fair, because Accrington Stanley have been in good form, decent side at home, and that's a bit of a thrashing for them. So that was a good result for Barnet.
Yeah. Terry Brown at AFC Wimbledon, he's freshened things up. He's desperate to get a result, wasn't he? 4 new signings, he's broken the transfer record at the club, brought in club legend and Jason Newell.
I think, to be fair, you felt like it almost got to the stage where they'd gone as far as they were going to go, and then obviously sometimes you need new fresh faces in the dressing room just to give everyone a little bit, reinforce that notion that, hey, we are good enough to be here, we're good enough to make an impression. As I say, that's exactly what he's done.
And we should mention Cheltenham Mullen to them, unbeaten in 10 now, and no let-up after their week in the sun. Right, well, let's take a look then at the latest league tables in the N-Power Football League. In League 2, Southend are back on top for the first time since November. Cheltenham are level on points with Paul Sturrock's men, and Crawley dropped down to 3rd. Swindon and Shrewsbury both had good wins and pulled clear of Oxford and Gillingham, who both lost. Plymouth are off the bottom and they're replaced by Northampton. Hereford's win at Dagenham sees them 4 points clear of the bottom 3, who are all now on 21 points. Barnet also getting that good win at Accrington. In N-Power League 1, Charlton bounced back to winning ways after their FA Cup defeat at Fulham last week with an important win at Hillsborough. Sheffield United are now 4 points clear of their city rivals, and Huddersfield's late winner moves them above Gary Megson's side. Stevenage moved back into the playoffs after their great victory at Rochdale. The bottom 8 remains unchanged, but Yeovil's late winner brings them level on points with Walsall and Scunthorpe. In fact, Yeovil are the only side in the bottom half to have won at the weekend. As for the Championship, well, Southampton and West Ham both secured 3 points on the road and moved 4 points clear, as Cardiff and Middlesbrough both stuttered. Reading, Hull, Birmingham and Derby all won, and there's only 3 points now between 5th and 11th. It's not been a good day for the sides at the bottom of the Championship. None of the bottom 5 could muster a goal between them, and only Doncaster picked up a point. Barnsley were the only side in the bottom to win on Saturday. Right, before we sign off, the usual reminder, if you've missed any of tonight's goals, we're on the red button until midday, and it's on Freeview until 9:15 on Sunday morning. It is also, of course, available on the BBC iPlayer all week. But if you're after extended match highlights only, they'll be on the BBC Sport website. There's more football tomorrow. Join Colin for Match of the Day 2 as he rounds up the weekend's Premier League games. That's on at 10 o'clock on 2. And on Monday night, a Football League favourite returns to our screens.
Late Kickoff is back, taking you to the heart of your local club. Getting closer to your team, both on and off the pitch. Meeting the players, the managers and the backroom staff behind the scenes. You'll get much more than match highlights and balls in the back of the net, as we bring you the stories that need to be told and tackle the issues that matter the most to you. Late Kickoff, the new series, Monday at 11:05 on BBC One, because we know football the way you do.
Yeah, looking forward to doing the Midlands edition. Well, that's your lot for tonight, Steve. Good to see you as always. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Good night.